What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. It's time for another week of wrestling, so let's see what's on tap for this week as well as all the latest happenings. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including a huge UFC star getting ready for the WWE, underwhelming plans for John Cena at Wrestlemania, why the Undertaker vs AJ Styles is happening at Wrestlemania 36, a quick Raw preview, AEW announces the rules for its cage match on Dynamite, Venis talks more trash to Nyla Rose, Roman Reigns is confident going into the Elimination Chamber, Eric Bischoff sets the record straight about Paul Heyman, Mark Henry calls out CM Punk, Sasha Banks goes to Hollywood, and an arena refuses business with AEW. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. But let's waste no further time and get straight into the first story, as the WrestleMania 36 plans for John Cena are totally underwhelming. Now, with WrestleMania 36 taking place in John Cena's backyard, the face that runs the place is locked in not only to appear at the Showcase of the Immortals, but to wrestle. However, if Dave Meltzer's latest report is correct, fans may be disappointed in Cena's opponent. According to WrestlingNews.co, Dave Meltzer noted on the Wrestling Observer Radio that the current plans is for Cena to take on Elias. This would be a follow-up to Cena's interaction with Elias at last year's WrestleMania. As seen in the video below, Cena appeared on the show as the Doctor of Thugonomics version of himself when he interrupted Elias's attempt to play a song. Meltzer also believes that King Corbin is also in the running, but both options seem so boring. And it seems like such an odd matchup considering Elias recently turned face. With rumors of a potential dream matchup between Cena and Goldberg or Cena and The Fiend, the WWE could be spreading some misinformation Meltzer's way. In any event, Cena is scheduled to appear on the 28th February edition of SmackDown the day after Super Showdown. Expect something big, and we don't think it's going to involve Cena and Elias, or Cena and King Corbin. Next up, why the Undertaker vs AJ Styles is happening at WrestleMania 36. Now, we haven't seen the Undertaker in WWE since 2019's Extreme Rules pay-per-view, where he teamed with Roman Reigns. However, the dead man is expected to return to action at WrestleMania 36 and face the phenomenal one AJ Styles. But why AJ Styles? Well, Meltzer shed some light on the reason behind this potential dream match. At least in some ways I can understand that match. At least number 1, AJ Styles is a heel. Number 2, AJ Styles can lose to Undertaker and it ain't gonna hurt him at all. Number 3, if you're gonna have Undertaker in a match, you might as well have it against one of your best guys so it doesn't suck. You know, and one thing is most guys really that wrestle Undertaker and lose doesn't really get hurt by it. The way AJ's been positioned, it's not gonna hurt. So it's just a way to get Undertaker on the card. Do you think this was the best way to go? Well, we certainly do. AJ could have a match with a frying pan and it would be good. Next up, a UFC legend is training at the WWE Performance Center. Several news sites include WrestlingNews.co are reporting that UFC Hall of Famer Tito Ortiz is training at the WWE Performance Center. Recently, Dave Meltzer spoke on the Wrestling Observer Radio about the situation, saying Tito Ortiz is training to be a professional wrestler at the Performance Center. He was there all week, and I heard great things about his work ethic and his enthusiasm. The only drawback to Ortiz's signing is that the MMA great is 45 years old, and perhaps more importantly is dealing with neck and back issues. Despite these problems, Ortiz could be a big draw if he's used as a special attraction. Next up, a quick Raw preview. As while the WWE isn't loading up the 17th February edition of Raw, it has announced some segments, and matches include a special sermon by the Monday Night Messiah Seth Rollins, Randy Orton vs Matt Hardy in a no holds barred match, and a tag match featuring Rusev and Humberto Carrillo vs Bobby Lashley and Angel Garza. We may also see another VIP lounge featuring MVP, as PW Insider reports MVP is scheduled for Raw. Next up, AEW announces the rules for its cage match at Dynamite. Now, any wrestling fan will tell you that steel cage matches have different rules, not only depending on which promotion they take place in, but depending on the situation. When AEW announced Cody Rhodes would battle Wardlow in a steel cage, fans were curious how the winner would be determined. But wonder no more as Cody's coach Arn Anderson revealed both men will be locked in a cage and the only way to win is to pin or submit your opponent, much like they did in WCW. AA had an interesting response when asked about the infamous cage match involving Cody's dad Dusty, where Arn and Ole Anderson conspired with Ric Flair and broke Rhodes' ankle in the cage. Anderson said it was a different time and he was there as Cody's coach, and that he'll be out there to make sure nothing happens that shouldn't happen. Should Cody's fans be concerned about Arn's comments, or should they trust him? Fans will have to wait and see whether Arn watches Cody's back or stabs him in it. Next up, Val Venis talks more trash to Nyla Rose. The Val Venis Twitter tirade against Nyla Rose sees no sign of stopping, as the Big Valboski took to social media today tweeting, "Fact, the Big Valboski is far more tolerant of the trans community, Nyla Rose, and fairness than the delusional social justice warriors are of freedom of speech. Social justice warriors are proving how fascist they really are. Fact, I'd make a man out of Nyla Rose is short order." Venis also posted a link to his 2000 match against Kurt Angle with the following tweet, "Real men sit back in awe and appreciate a man's work rate. Soy boys trigger, melt down, call them names, and make insane claims." Has Val Venis totally lost it, or is he just trying to make himself relevant again? Next up, Roman Reigns is confident going into the Elimination Chamber. The 8th March Elimination Chamber pay-per-view will be here before you know it, and Roman Reigns seems well prepared for his Elimination Chamber match. Speaking to Pro Wrestling Sheet's Ryan Satin, the big dog proclaimed, "The time is now. I've never been in better shape in my life. I've never been more prepared. I've legitimately been groomed since I was just a little boy for this moment. There's nobody in the world that can handle this like I can. I've been through the fire and back. Like I said, man, this is my time. 2020 is mine. Hopefully we can knock it out of the park and take it all the way back here to SoFi at WrestleMania 37. Reigns will be competing to see who faces the Universal Champion at WrestleMania 36, and with Bill Goldberg set to fight The Fiend at Super Showdown, there's no telling who will be the champion going into Mania. During his talk with Satin, Reigns also put over his cousin Simone Johnson, predicting big things for the WWE's newest hire. Next up, Eric Bischoff sets the record straight about Paul Heyman. Eric Bischoff's 83 Weeks podcast gives him a chance to discuss a number of topics, and one that recently came up was how much creative control Raw Executive Director Paul Heyman has. According to the former ATM Eric, the answer is none. This is not meant to take a half-assed shot or anything like that, but Paul Heyman doesn't have creative control, and anybody thinks he does is kidding themselves. I know Paul doesn't, and neither does anybody else. One guy has creative control, and we all know who that is. When I said while I was there I didn't have creative control, I was being honest. I didn't because one man did. Paul Heyman doesn't. Eric Bischoff doesn't. Nobody who follows in my steps, including Bruce Pritchard, you know how much I love Bruce, or Paul Heyman, have creative control. Anyone who's followed WWE for long knows that Vincent Kennedy McMahon is still the final arbiter of what airs on WWE television and pay-per-views. McMahon has some amazing wrestling minds around him, but they are of little if any use as long as he ignores them. Next up, Mark Henry calls out CM Punk. It looks like the world's strongest man Mark Henry is tired of listening to WWE backstage contributor CM Punk dishing out advice when Henry feels Punk should be dishing out punishment. Punk recently appeared on WWE Backstage where he brought up rising star Aleister Black and suggested the Dust Destroyer go after the belt such as the United States Championship. Henry wasn't buying it and said a star as big as Punk should be calling Black out. What Punk should say is he's looking for a fight. Hell, I'll fight him. How about that? Let that be the news tomorrow. CM Punk says Aleister Black wants to fight. Take your ass to the ring and you tell me what day of the week it is and I'll be there. Punk vs Black would be an incredible match, especially given both superstars' martial arts background. The downside is that it's unlikely the WWE would want Punk back to wrestle Black when they could book him against a top star. Mark Henry is scheduled to appear on WWE Backstage this week, so let's see what else the WWE Hall of Famer has to say. Next up, Sasha Banks goes to Hollywood. It looks like Sasha Banks is ready to become the latest WWE superstar trying their luck in acting. Pro Wrestling Sheet's Ryan Satin has confirmed an initial report from the Mat Men Pro Wrestling podcast that Banks will be involved with Season 2 of the Disney streaming service Star Wars series The Mandalorian. Season 2 is scheduled to premiere in October, but there's no word on what the boss's role is and how significant it'll be. Regardless, some of the biggest careers have started off with the smallest parts. Will Sasha Banks be the next superstar to make it in Hollywood? We'll have to wait and see. And our final news story of today, an arena refuses business with AEW. Well, according to Fightful Select, they are reporting that AEW has found it difficult to book shows in the Cincinnati area, as the Heritage Bank Arena has refused to do business with them due to their relationship with WWE, who have booked numerous shows with them in the past. Even though they have refused, there is the fifth third arena which holds slightly less, but it's interesting to think that arenas will stay loyal to WWE and not offer to run other shows. It's something Madison Square Garden did many years ago, but that relationship between them and the WWE has since fallen through. But there you have it guys, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.